Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimaloye live for you here in Abuja. Today, our attention is on opposition party and practice in Nigeria. A fresh legal battle has emerged over the restoration of the Nigeria Democratic Congress NDC after a federal high court in Lokoja set aside its earlier judgment directing the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC to register the party. The court ruled that its December 2025 decision was reached without hearing all necessary parties, making the proceedings constitutionally defective. Justice Issa Dashen restored the status quo and ordered the substantive suit begin afresh. With the Peace Movement Party, the NDC and INEC now joined in the case. Lawyers for the Peace Movement Party say the ruling reaffirms the principle that no court should determine a matter without giving all interested parties the opportunity to be heard. Take a listen to him.
In the judgment of the 10th of December, had ordered INEC to recognize Nigeria Democratic Congress as a political party and register it, issue a certificate of registration, and allow it to be contained on the ballot paper for the purpose of the election. So those were the fallouts of the judgment. The judgment having been reversed this morning, those steps taken by INEC to do so in recognition and issuance of certificates would also need to be reversed.
The decision, however, is being strongly rejected by the leadership of the NDC. At a press conference in Abuja on Friday evening, the party described the ruling as legally unsustainable and politically motivated, insisting it would challenge the judgment through the appellate court. The NDC also dismissed suggestions that the latest court decision weakens its political future, maintaining that its nationwide mobilization and commitment to expanding Nigeria's democratic space remain firmly on course.
There was no order directing our deregistration. However, we are dissatisfied with the decision that has been made, and we have instructed our team of lawyers to immediately proceed to the Court of Appeal to challenge the jurisdiction and propriety of His Lordship's order. We assure the general public, and particularly our candidates at all levels, that our party is on course. The NDC has not been deregistered. And we are challenging today's order at the Court of Appeal as soon as possible. We have no doubt that justice will be done.
But the ruling has opened a fresh political debate beyond the courtroom. The national leader of the NDC, Senator Seriake Dickson, has dismissed the judgment as legally flawed and politically motivated, arguing it is designed to frustrate the emergence of a credible alternative political platform in Nigeria. Insists the party will challenge their decision at the appellate court and says that the legal setback will not derail its nationwide political movement. Senator Dickson joins us now to discuss the implication of the judgment. Senator Seriake Dickson is the national leader of the NDC representing Bayelsa State in the National Assembly. He's a lawyer, is a former two-time governor of Bayelsa State, the former Attorney General of Bayelsa State, and a former member of the House of Representatives. Senator Seriake Dickson, it's a pleasure having you join us tonight.
Thank you very much, Seun, for having me. And thank you for the great work you are doing for our nation's democracy.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's begin. And first and foremost, perhaps, as a national leader, because I'm going to take you up on all the hats that you wear tonight as a governor, as a senator, lawmaker, lawyer, former attorney general, and now the national leader, because of the matter of your party in court. How do you describe it, first and foremost? What do you see about the judgment of court, or the ruling that the court gave in Lokoja on Friday?
Well, first of all, I joined the national chairman and other officers of the party, and I joined also all well-meaning Nigerians, and even people from outside Nigeria who have expressed their outrage and shock and surprise at the judgment, the ruling that came out from the court that is clearly functus officio, meaning that it's a court that ordinarily doesn't have jurisdiction to sit on appeal over its own earlier judgment. So basically, we disagree as a party about the legal basis and the propriety of the ruling. And as the chairman and other officers have said repeatedly, the party is taking the appropriate and right legal steps to ensure that the right thing is done.
So let's look at it legally speaking now. I mean, you've spoken as the national leader of the party. Yes. And from your own point of view as a national leader, how do you interpret, based on the status of your party, what do you say the status is right now as a national leader?
Well, first of all,
where does this leave your party?
Yes, I want all Nigerians, I thank them for their support and their solidarity and their prayers. As a matter of fact, from Friday, Shehu, thousands of Nigerians have been flocking to our website to register. They now know more about our party. They sympathize with our party and our candidates, and they are flocking and buying into the vision of our party and our candidates. So I thank them for their support and their prayers. Now, the NDC has not been deregistered. The NDC has validly nominated candidates for all elective offices in primaries monitored nationwide by INEC, from House of Assembly to House of Reps, to Senate, to governorship, and to a presidential candidate who has also nominated a running mate. I myself am also a senatorial candidate of the party. All nominations have been validly carried out, monitored by INEC, in accordance with the time frame given by INEC. So I assure all our candidates and members that those nominations are valid. And by the laws of this country, nominations are done at the primaries that takes place at the various levels. The submission to INEC is an administrative procedure. So the NDC is still a party. The court itself did not deregister it. And no step has been taken whatsoever to that effect. And as soon as possible, as the party has said, once the appeal is lodged and the necessary papers are filed, this is a matter that will go to the highest levels to set aside the irregular judgment. Irregular because by our hierarchy of courts and by judicial precedents and by all that we know, the doctrine of finality of courts, once a high court has given a judgment on a matter, the court is functus officio and shouldn't have any business to go. Anyone who is complaining, someone says it's an interested party, you file a suit. Or you go, ask for leave, and go on appeal. But all of that has not taken place. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that that is so. And we expect that the judicial system will correct this anomaly. And the judicial system, by the way, Shehu, presupposes that judges and people who sit in judgment will make mistakes. That's why you have a hierarchy of courts. So if a judge makes a mistake, it's well within his own area. I mean, a judge is at liberty to err, is free to err. But then it is left for the aggrieved party, in this case, for the party that is complaining, we, and all our candidates, over 1,000 of them, from all the houses of assembly, all the governors, all the National Assembly members, and then our presidential candidate and running mate, everybody has now acquired a valid, vested legal interest because they have all been nominated. So we expect that the appeal process and the applications that will follow, including the ones that will be lodged before that same court, in accordance with procedure and precedents, will correct this matter. So we're on course. And I assure all our candidates and members that NDC is on course. Their candidations are not threatened. All nominations that have already been concluded since, monitored and recorded and observed by INEC, are all valid and subsistent.
Yeah. Let's argue the position of the law. And today, it's difficult for me to actually argue because a very senior member of the bar. It's difficult for me to. But let's look at the rest of the bar. Let's look at the issues, the subject matter as debated in court. And the ruling of Friday returned you to the first instance. The reason that took you to Lokoja was the fact that INEC was refusing to register your party. And you went to court to say, INEC, you must register, and you won the matter. And that was the reason when afterward, after December, you came out to say, we got a political party. Yeah. But the court has now said, that judgment, I know better, I see better. That judgment, I take it back to before I gave you the judgment that allowed you to be registered as a political party. So if you interpret that, it means that you are back to status quo. The status quo meaning that before you went to court to challenge INEC for not registering you. So there are those who interpret it as though there's no NDC because the party took you back to pre-registration.
Well, first of all, that interpretation is wrong. Whatever orders that he made in terms of status quo, even while the status quo you're talking about is debatable. Because right now, you have NDC registered as a political party. When the court made that order, the court positively compelled INEC to register us. This ruling did not contain a positive mandatory order directing INEC to deregister. This ruling did not do that.
But there is a judgment that INEC had that compelled INEC to register.
No, but
that ruling, that judgment in the hands of INEC is now a nullity. That judgment means nothing is left.
Wait. Courts don't function that way. Courts don't function that way.
But it reverses.
Orders of courts are to be construed strictly. It was possible for the court to have made that order on deregistration if that was what it wanted. But the court did not say so. And in any case, our contention is that that order that was purportedly made was an order that was extra jurisdictional. He had no jurisdiction, no powers to have even entertained the application, no powers to have made even that order on status quo, whichever way you want to interpret it. And that's a decision that the appellate courts will look at, and they will know what to do. And we are confident that even the orders, whichever way you want to interpret it, will be put right in no distant time. Okay? Once the applications are lodged, and our lawyers have been doing a terrific job, and the issues are very clear, Shehu. I would like you and all Nigerians to know this. Look, the party that went to file an application, a motion, who are they? Nigerians should know that that is not a registered political party at all. It is actually a non-entity. It's not known to the laws of Nigeria. We have natural persons, you and I, Senator Dickson and Okimbaloye, we are natural persons. Okay? In this political sphere, for you to participate in political activities, you must be a political party. That applicant is unknown to the laws of this country. It is not a political association. It is also not a registered political party. It is not carrying out political activities. It is not sponsoring political candidates for this election or for any election at all. Nobody even knows the national chairman of that so-called association. Nobody knows the secretary. Nobody knows the office or headquarters. Nobody knows any member. Only someone described herself as pro tem legal advisor of an association. And it's even anomalous that it refers to itself as a party. It is not a political party. Actually, that is a crime under the laws of this country. A crime under the laws of this country. Because by the laws of this country, only a registered political party can call itself a political party and can undertake or be part of political activities. And it is a criminal offense to do so. So, ab initio, there was no legal, justiciable person, no juristic person before the court. Okay? So the action, every action associated with this matter It's frivolous
so you don't
and
really,
it's embarrassing, actually.
So you really don't know people who are behind it?
No, there's nobody actually behind it. Now, let me tell you.
What do you suspect?
Wait.
Yeah.
So there are many suspicions and many motives going on, but I'm not here to trade suspicions. What I'm here to explain, the kind of situation that has been contrived. Contrived in the sense that, what did the affidavit, the so-called affidavit that didn't really disclose any case at all? You look at the affidavit, and the courts of appeal and others will look at it, and you will hear more about it. Look, they said, even if you take them by what they have read, they said 2015, that association, not a party, association, applied for registration as a political party, and they were denied. Of course, as you all know, we started as 2017, okay? Now, they were denied, so they are not a political party. And if you check 2015 till now, or till December, when we got this order, it's 10 years. So 10 years, that association has been moribund, dormant, non-existent, dissolved itself. It's of no consequence, does not exist. Even if it existed at that time, its members, some may have died as human beings, some may have left, they may have japad, so it is not a body that can pursue any claim against our party. It is not a body capable of having any rights that can be enforced. And in any case, look, what did they say? They said, 2015 when they applied to use the V sign as their logo. But they were denied. And once that application was denied, that was the end of it. If they had gone to court to get INEC, as we did, to register themselves as a political party, then they would have had a case. But they were denied, and for 10 years, nobody knows who they are. All right? Now, we got our own applied through the courts, and we have been registered. Now, by the laws of this country, the Electoral Act, and even by the INEC guidelines, once a party has a logo registered, they have what they call a register of symbols. So as at the date of that judgment, it is the NDC that has the symbol, this symbol. And so, it is a criminal offense for any other person to purport to lay claim to this.
APC says that symbol looks like their own.
No. That was why we went to court, and the court overruled them. And funny enough, all these arguments were canvassed because INEC said 2015, before the judgment, INEC said 2015, an association applied with this sign. And the judge, this same judge, asked them before the judgment of December last year, were they registered? INEC said no. Are they seeking to be registered now? In other words, in the process that started last year, INEC said no. So, Shehu, this association, whatever it is called, has never been in the equation at all for the past 10 years.
Let me take you to the constitutional matter that the court brought up.
Yeah.
And it's a principle enshrined in Section 36 of 1 of the Constitution.
Yes.
The principle of natural justice, fair hearing.
Yes.
It stands on 2 legs.
Yes.
Audi, utter, and pattern. Hear the other side.
Yes.
Nemo Judaism Kososwa. The other part is meaning that you can't be a judge in your own matter. But what concerns us is the first leg, which is Audi, utter, and pattern, which means that hear the other side. And the court says, look, I need to hear them. And you have, your party has said, what is the business of Peace Movement Party?
It's not a political party.
But the fact remains that this Section 36, Section 36 of the Constitution, gives them the right of fair hearing.
Okay,
and you think that does not apply?
Procedurally, and by precedence and by law, is the attempt to invoke the constitutional right of hearing is misplaced. And it's an attempt to be clever by half. Okay? What that section of the fair hearing rule says is that when they went to court, if you properly construe it, as they filed that application, they had a right to be heard on the application. Okay? And what the court ought to have done would have been, on its own even, can you address me on the jurisdiction I have? I have delivered a judgment. Am I not functus official? shouldn't have had any business going into the merits of the matter. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, fair hearing means that by the procedures of court, if they as an interest, if they had any interest that they claim, and anybody can claim an interest, anybody, they should have asked for leave to appeal and go to the Court of Appeal to say we are an interested party, and then they will now show their interest. Okay, they bypass that because they know they can't avoid, they can't go through that hurdle in the Court of Appeal, and even satisfy the judge that they have interest. And in any case, if what was concerned was fair hearing, why did he go into the substantive issue of the judgment that he had delivered, over which his functus official? Okay? Now let me tell you this. That judgment was well written. This party, this so-called association, never applied to be registered as a party at the time we did. So there was no conflict. And we are not talking about proprietary of symbols, and it's not a registered trademark issue as to who applied and who is registered. Even now,
there's those who will say this means peace more than national.
Sorry?
There are those who argue that maybe peace movement has a case actually, because in a general and global concept that this means these two fingers, which is the symbol of the party, means
what I'm explaining to you. This is victory sign. And political icons all over the world, not only in Nigeria, have used it. Mahatma Gandhi used it. Okay? Nelson Mandela used it. So many great political figures have used it. Even in Nigeria, Chief of Bafome Awolowo, our sage, used it. Malam Aminu Kano used it. As a matter of fact, in the NEPU, in the 50s, 40s and 50s, this was their sign, registered. And it Nasara, victory, in the north, in Hausa. So nobody can claim ownership of this sign.
a peace sign.
A peace sign, or whatever you say it is. Even if they were functioning. And let me tell you this, by the Electoral Act, and INEC knows all of this. We have a professor of law and a senior advocate. So that's why I'm concerned that political players, for fear of going through elections and competitions, they are destroying the judiciary, putting the judiciary in a very bad light, and putting INEC also in a very bad light. Look, even if you are a registered political party by the electoral laws, and you are deregistered, and you are not operating for 5 years, another party, another association can take that symbol. It's there in the Electoral Act. So, even if, assuming without conceding that they were a proper political association with officers, even if they applied and they are active, once from 2015 they have not been operational, they have no right.
Let me quickly ask
they
you
have no
this.
right.
Let me ask you this. Part of, and I'm insisting on what the court's ruling was on Friday, the court held that material facts were not disclosed during the earlier proceedings.
What was it?
That is a serious judicial finding. Did the NDC or his legal representatives fail in their duty of full disclosure?
No, let me tell you. His lordship, and I say that with respect, even though we disagree, by who we are and as part of the leadership of our country at different levels, we have a duty to protect and preserve the integrity of key national institutions, the judiciary being one. And I'm one of those who have always fought to promote and protect judicial officers and the judiciary as an institution. And this is why what is going on about the ADC a month ago, using the same judiciary, using this phony, unsubstantiated legal matters and creating a turmoil in the judicial system. And all of these have the capacity to reduce and weaken the public's perception and confidence in the judiciary, which is very important for our democracy to survive. Look, the disclosure you are talking about, in that application, there was full and complete disclosure. By who? INEC, who came to oppose us, the application. And one of the reasons they advanced was that there was this sign, which was the bone of conduct, that it was used by a peace movement. This movement, they refer to this part, this application, And his lordship asked them himself in the proceedings, are they applying now to be registered now in this exercise? He said no. Are they a registered political party in the country so that we can say that what these people are saying is in conflict with that? They said no, they are not a political party. So there was disclosure, material disclosure. They didn't have to be joined. You don't join a party you don't know.
Let me ask you.
You don't join a party that is not in existence.
Let me ask you, sir. Did you register NDC with the CAC?
No.
Before you went to... Just a moment.
No.
I'm getting somewhere.
When?
Did you register with CAC before you went to INEC?
No. You don't register political parties with CAC.
Are you aware that the Peace Movement Party... because when you describe it as a non-juristic element in this matter, there are those who will say that may not be correct, considering the fact that under Part C of KAMA, the Peace Movement claims that it has been registered as an association and as an entity, legal entity under the Nigerian law. It's only not been accommodated by INEC as a registered political party. And that, sorry, sir, and that sign is accompanied in their registration as KAMA as an entity, as a juristic identifiable individual under Nigerian law.
Look, let me tell you. Registration with INEC, if they are registered under KAMA, Part C, okay, that's not for political participation. That they are not, by the laws of this country, authorized to canvass for votes. They cannot sponsor candidates. They cannot function as a political party or hold themselves out as one. Okay? So there's no conflict. Assuming, without conceding, that they are even registered as an NGO under Part C. Okay? There's no conflict. I'm telling you that even if a party were registered and that party ceases to function for 5 years, I'm saying that INEC is at liberty to allow another party to use that symbol. So, I mean, symbols are not reasons why you deregister a political party.
They claim you copied their symbol.
No.
And that's what they are fighting.
So Mahatma Gandhi copied it. NEPU copied it from them.
Mahatma Gandhi did not register it in Nigeria.
No. I'm telling you that even before them, NEPU in the 40s was using this as Nasara. Listen to me. What people are trying to do is to look for flimsy reasons to truncate the political opposition, destabilize and weaken and scatter the political opposition, to weaken the political opposition, which is why it is worrisome. With ADC, it was a certain Gombe nephew who was there at the day they were holding a meeting to formally appoint the NEC, to formally appoint David Mark and the other leaders. I can't speak much for that, but all Nigerians are aware. And now, for a party that is now growing, that will work so hard and presenting credible, dynamic political leaders, probably one of the most charismatic set of leaders, converging now in the NDC, we know, we're not naive to know that that will not cause concerns in some quarters. But want to say that, look, they should push this with care. All of us as leaders have a duty to nurture and protect our nation's democracy. Okay? We know where we are coming from.
Is this a plan to not to allow the NDC to be on the ballot?
Well, that will not succeed. NDC will be on the ballot. We have already started the process of being on the ballot. As I've told you, we have already concluded the process of nominating our candidates in accordance with the INEC timetable.
Tomorrow, INEC will be giving out the code for political parties to enter their candidates. Yes. What if INEC refuses NDC the code?
INEC will not refuse.
But if INEC is standing on this ruling...
And I can't speak, no. INEC has told you they are not even aware of this ruling. And by tomorrow, our processes will be with them. Okay? And once...
So you're asking for a stay?
You're asking for a stay and an appeal. We apply for an injunction to restrain all of that, and the right thing has to be done. INEC is an institution that is used to dealing with these things. They are used to frivolous applications such as this. They are used to instances where courts, unfortunately, as in this case, makes a bizarre a ruling that is difficult to fathom, and everybody can be wrong. Everybody is shocked.
There are those in your party.
So INEC knows what to do, and furthermore,
Yeah.
INEC, fortunately, is not just a professor. He's not the first professor to head INEC, but this is a professor of law. This is a senior advocate of Nigeria.
So this means a lot.
He knows the right thing to do. And you see, it's not for nothing that, look, INEC went to challenge the attempt to deregister the political parties. INEC filed a counter saying they were opposed to that move. That's good. Okay? So INEC under Professor Mutompiton's leadership, not surprising, but it's a professor of law and a senior advocate. Mm-hmm. And INEC also, over the past 27 years, has also built institutional capacity. They have seen all of this. They have seen kangaroo judgments flying overnight, and they have a system by which this will handle. And so we are confident they will know what to do, but most importantly, we are confident in the Nigerian judiciary. Okay? A judge has erred, we're not happy about it, but we have confidence in the Nigerian judiciary.
Are you reporting this to the NJC?
No, that's not our focus. And as a person, I've always been a promoter and supporter of the judiciary and individual justices and judges. And that's why even on this program, I'm not casting any personal aspersions on the judge. Because I believe that they are doing a very critical job, and it's our duty, all of us as leaders, to encourage and support them.
Let me ask you.
And even when they err and they make decisions that we disagree with, we have an opportunity to vent our anger and to get the other appellate courts to do what is. That's what hierarchy of courts is about.
In your party, there are those who believe that this is ultimately targeted at Peter Obi and Kwankwaso to stop them from being in the contest. Do you think this could be a major issue too?
Well, first of all, as I told you, the NDC has been very careful and selective in the choice of our candidates. His Excellency Peter Obi and His Excellency Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, who, by the way, shortly before I came here, visited me before I came to this studio. When he came from Kano, drove straight, and we had interactions before I came here. We have formed a partnership, and we have selected credible candidates. I myself am running for Senate, and it is like that all over Nigeria. 109 senators selected, 360 House of Rep members selected, all House of Assembly candidates selected, all governors selected, carefully selected. All our governorship candidates have capacity to win elections because the mass of Nigerians are behind us. And we are not naive. And I'm not naive as national leader. And my partners, my colleagues, because we are a partnership. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso and I, we are a partnership with all our teaming followers and support and candidates and leaders at all levels. We are not naive to know that this convergence will not cause concerns and worries. Okay? We are not naive. But what we know is that this, even if somebody is a hangman, you should know how to hang properly. This is a terrible hangman job. This is not an association that can sustain this kind of...
what if the fresh hearing goes against you?
Sorry?
What if the fresh hearing that the court is asking for goes against you?
No, wait. By the way our court system works, Shehu, once our processes are entered, the judicial system will move and probably even shift ground. Do you understand? Ask yourself, if you have already deregistered, if that is your interpretation, if you have set aside your judgment, what are you hearing? No, you ask yourself, not being a judge. See, which means that there has been no full and comprehensive hearing. But INEC was in court. We sent our representative, and the one-man association, or do I say one-woman association, because the plaintiff there is a certain name who is pro-team national legal advisor. There's no chairman of that association or president. There's no secretary of that association or president.
No trustee.
There are no trustees of that association. So it's not the trustees suing. If you say it is registered under Part C, then it's the trustees that should be there. Okay? It's a legal advisor. Is that the person that can sustain this kind of claim against a political party that is sponsoring over 1,000 candidates, a political party that has held primaries from ward to national convention, a political party that has held primaries from a state assembly, House of Reps, Senate, governorship, and presidential and running mate? Abba. So what kind of democracy, what kind of system?
So this is definitely a witch hunt as far as you're concerned.
Well, you could say so, but I prefer to say that it is not substantiated by law because of my respect for the judiciary as an institution, and of which I have been a lifelong supporter of. And I have a responsibility because, you see, judges don't speak. So people should be, I don't like people saying statements, making statements about individual judges and justices. Because by their conservative rules and their precedents and their code, they can't speak for themselves. So we have a duty to protect, and it's a critical institution. We can't have a democracy without the judiciary. We can't have a democracy without you, the media. We can't have a democracy without the security agencies being fair and impartial to some form. We can't have a democracy without INEC being an unbiased umpire. And that's what we're seeking. And that's the responsibility, all of us as leaders of parties, leaders of governments, and the president, who is the president and commander-in-chief and the leader of the nation, has a duty to ensure that the waters are not polluted.
We need to go on a break. But I'm hearing now that some members of your party are contemplating resigning and exiting because they are afraid, they are jittery, that this will mean that their political ambition towards 2027 has now come to an end. How do you handle this?
Well, first of all, that is what this kind of kangaroo situation is intended to achieve. But you see, I'm here to assure all members, and that's not the report we have. Our candidates are steadfast, and they have already emerged as candidates of our party. They know the steps that the party is doing, and in no distant time, they will be uploaded. They will go into the polls. They will be on the ballot. There's no fear. There's no fear. And let me say, this kind of move is intended to be a distraction. It's intended to shake our faith. And for some of us who are used to this kind of thing, in fact, we even expect more. We even expect more. Because if you have to be in this kitchen for some time, then you must have a way of managing the heat. Okay? So I assure all our candidates and our members that NDC is on the ballot. All our candidates will be on the ballot. And NDC has not been deregistered and won't be deregistered. The laws of this country will speak. Justice will run its course. And they have nothing to worry about.
All right, give me a moment. We'll return after this break, everyone. And apart from the conversation about the state of the NDC, the debate over state police also will take center stage in the program tonight as the National Assembly is pushed ahead with constitutional amendment, and supporters say it's the long-awaited answer to Nigeria's security crisis. Well, is state police the solution Nigerians are waited for, or a new constitutional risk? We're speaking to a former Attorney General, a former governor, a sitting senator, after this break. Join us again. Thanks so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. The conversation over the state police is no longer theoretical. It is now at the heart of Nigeria's constitutional reform agenda. Supporters are arguing decentralizing policing will improve security, intelligence gathering, and community trust. Opponents caution that without strong institutional safeguards, the same powers could be vulnerable to political abuse. Let's take a look at some of these issues with my guest tonight, who is a sitting senator, a former member of the House of Representatives, a former Attorney General of Bayelsa State and two-term governor of Bayelsa State, who else can discuss this without, with this kind of profile, and is equally a lawyer, the national leader of the NDC, Senator Seriake Dickson. Thanks so much indeed for your time.
Thank you.
Before I get into a matter that a lot of Nigerians think, we've had a lot of governors say, I'm just a governor and I had the title of the chief security officer of my state. I'm really, in practical terms, not the chief security officer. Before I get into it, let me ask this question about the NDC. There are external crises, just as we saw in that legal issue, but there are those also who are grumbling within. I'm hoping that you are able to resolve. Have you been able to resolve? Because what has happened is that the allegations the people are making is that, the people who did not participate in the primaries are being given the form they are going to impose. What do you say to them to calm the fray nerves tonight?
Yes. You know what happened for a new party with charismatic leaders converging to chart a new vision, and that equally attracted vibrant supporters and followership, across the country, and led to a surge of aspirations, which we managed. And that's why, as I've always said, I disagreed on the floor of the Senate, and I cautioned. But this APC majority doesn't listen. They don't listen. They don't believe in hearing all perspectives. We warned against constricting parties to have only direct primaries. So look, allow the trade forms, consensus if it is possible, and it's hardly ever possible. Very few cases. Then allow parties to choose between direct and delegate system, according to their resources, according to their capacity. And you can see what is happening even in the bigger party, the APC, that's in government, with 31 governors, with a president. A lot of more cases, more complaints than even our new party. So we are not saying that things didn't happen down the line. State officials, state caucus leaders, teams that went, so a number of things happened, which we as national leader and with myself, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, and the working committee, the national chairman, we are trying to manage. We never impose or select any candidate.
Are you investigating the case?
Yes,
those who came to party
we are looking at all of that. And all I can say is that the process may not have been perfect, couldn't have been perfect in view of the time frame. We asked for the understanding. I'm aware that a reconciliation committee has been set up, and in no distant time. That's why these are all distractions, the court and no court, which will go nowhere. We'll deal with it. But we will engage our members and involve them. I assure them that they are still, irrespective of what has happened, they will still continue to be valued members and stakeholders of our party and will play different roles, And the process of reconciliation has started. Thank you.
So you're not worried if anybody who is not a member of your party finds their name on your candidate?
No, there's no member, there's none who is not a member of our party who will be our candidate. No, I can assure you. We dealt with situations where a number of interest-sponsored people, and even those ones, because of the screening, they have to brandish our membership card. But we knew who was playing the drums. And some of them were identified. And
Senator Dickson, let me ask you. And you've been in this game long enough to understand, not only to look at the crystal ball, because right now, the reality is set before us. We've seen this game before. President Tinubu has been on the ballot. He's probably going to be on the ballot in 2027. Do you see a chance for NDC winning this race?
No, let me tell you, look. Of course, as leader of NDC and as a Nigerian, who knows the feelings and the yearnings of Nigerians, who also knows that their aspirations have not been met. We believe that the APC government, APC as a party, not just presidency, APC will be defeated massively. All right? But it's not for one person to decide. It's a decision for Nigerians. And that's why you must open up the political space and not constrict it by contrived legal shenanigans, using the judiciary to authenticate and legitimize You know what is morally reprehensible. Okay? That reminds you, I don't know how young we were in the days of Association for Better Nigeria and Abimbola Davis and certain Justice Ikpeme and so on and so forth. Please, 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 my plea to the leadership of Nigeria's judiciary, okay, which is the pride of our nation and the one that holds the balance while we politicians can do the political struggles, okay, and INEC, is to please don't allow desperate politicians with not enough scruples to understand that in this game, you don't need to win all, okay? Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you lose, you win more.
Yeah.
So that is the attitude that it should be.
But the question here is that there are those who say, NDC, you may not have a pathway to victory. Why not align with the likes of Atiku Abubakar?
Look.
Do you have a pathway to victory?
We can
you defeat
no
Bola
party,
Tinubu
no opposition. We are the leading opposition party now, even though we are just 5 months. And my style, if you notice, is not to denigrate anyone or any particular. I hardly talk about individuals and persons. I always address issues and propound core principles and values upon which my politics rests. Okay? Campaigns have not started. But as national leader of NDC and as a Nigerian, I have a bird's eye view of what has happened. Did you see what happened during our primaries? As flawed, as imperfect as they were, like the other parties, so the massive turnout across the country. Okay? When campaigns begin, every Nigerian will see clearly.
But will you align forces with the likes of Atiku?
Listen to me. Listen to me. As an opposition leader, we will be open. Our party, the NDC, will be open to conversations.
And you can form a coalition
within that space. But it's not for me or anyone to preempt. Okay? And we hope that whatever discussions will lead to the NDC candidate being backed, because we know the value of the candidates we are putting forward. Okay? We are not claiming superiority. We are not claiming anyone is not this.
So you are open to work with other political parties?
Every party, every group.
You want to form a coalition? Is it possible?
We will, after the nomination processes have ended, so we'll get to another phase. Okay?
Yeah.
Of discussing.
Yeah.
Whether it will agree, I don't know, or we'll try. Where it will lead to, I don't know. But all those are options that are open.
Let me ask you.
Once it is for the NDC.
So
can we move to the police station?
I know you're dodging away from the direct question I'm asking you. Because no, the APC has said they will beat you silly, that you don't have a pathway.
But first,
so that's the question.
First allow every party that you want to be. You can only beat them silly in a contest. In an electoral contest. So let's have a free and fair contest.
They should not rig the process.
No. I'm not even talking of that yet.
No,
don't constrict
you out before the contest starts.
Don't constrict the space. Let the ADC be on the ballot. Let the NDC be on the ballot. Let the APM be on the ballot. Let the Labour Party, the PDP. Well, for PDP, my precious PDP, I don't know much. But whatever it is, let's protect the opposition space.
All right.
And I can't say anything bad about the PDP because it's our platform. Yes.
Yeah. And you could go back to it anyways.
No. Yeah. This is NDC. NDC for life.
For life.
NDC for life.
Tell me about state police debate on the floor.
Do
you think that this is a progressive way to go?
No. First of all, as a committed federalist, which I have been, and it is showing my politics and even my life operates on parallel lines. I'm not used to that. Okay? You know where I stand if you are dealing with me. Okay? I may be wrong. I'm a human being, but you know where I stand. I've been a committed federalist all my adult life, political life. And one of the things that has brought me, made me to leave my law practice. I wanted to be a professor and then a senior advocate. But political service caught me somewhere, and here I am.
You're not a professor of politics.
So I'm doing this.
You're a professor of practice in politics.
Well, still a student, still learning from others. Okay, so one of the things that I've been committed to is true federalism in Nigeria. The federalist is too lopsided, too downright heavy, ineffective, and it's a recipe for disaster. A nation is not working in a lot of fronts. Not just on this issue of policing, but this is one of the first times in almost 60-something, 70 years. Our founding fathers tried to have a conversation, particularly in the Constitutional Conference in Ibadan, shortly before, but they had a major disagreement, okay? And then you had the native authority police, and then the military came. They will federalize the police when the coup happened, and then a lot of things up till now. Our federal exclusive list is damn too heavy. We are not a federation. And we have to be, as we say, we are a federal republic of Nigeria, not a unitary republic of Nigeria. So in principle, therefore, I commend the executive move to decentralize policing. But that's not the only thing to decentralize. We have to also decentralize the issue of mineral rights, what we call resource control. So if the president has done this, and it has my support. But let me explain, not in the way it is presented. I am in support of decentralization of policing powers, which is the right thing to propose, and I support it. But my prescription would have been to decentralize it to the zonal levels. First, decentralize it to the zonal levels. The governors who are units, who are governors of subnational groups, bodies in our federation. I was a governor, and I know the problem. They used to transfer my police commissioners every week, because they wanted to take my state by force, which they couldn't end up doing, okay, because of the people. Now, a governor should not be without some measure of control. So what I've supported probably would have been move it to the zonal level, because already the most senior police officers from every zone are the DIGs. From the south, west, east, south, north, west, north, central, all of them DIGs. So my prescription firstly would have been decentralizing the police force. Put it at the zonal level. Then we have to amend the constitution to give the governors powers to appoint the commissioners of police, working with the Police Service Commission, okay? And then putting them to the House of Assemblies for screening and oversight. That's the right thing to do. And thereafter, we now take it to the states and then the local government. But for the local government, the local government, another area the president has started something but abandoned it halfway, and I hope he has the courage to push it through, which is important also for security, but also to ground our democracy, is the issue of local government reforms. Yeah. He did something well with the Attorney General, and I have commended that. But see, my being opposition doesn't mean if you do something good, I won't commend you. No, I will, but I'll point out how it should be done differently.
We are totally out of time now, sir.
Yes, okay.
But just in the 30 seconds, your candidate, presidential candidate, has said is suspicious, the timing, that you cannot amend the state policing and give powers to governors when there's an election. Just in 30 seconds, do you agree with that stand?
Our presidential candidate, Peter Obi, is right, and that's also my view. We can start the process. The president has started a good thing by introducing this reform, okay? He has had the courage to do it, even though I disagree the speed with which it is going. Slow it down a little bit, okay? Because every national attention and resources now should be focused on fighting terrorism and insecurity and creating the environment to enable us have an election. The business of implementing this should be left for the next government.
We are totally out of time.
But it's a great move. It's a great move.
Thank you so much. Senator Seriake Dickson, a former governor of Bayelsa State, former Attorney General, the national leader of the NDC, and a sitting senator representing Bayelsa State. It's a pleasure having you on the program today.
Thank you very much, Shegun, for having me. Thank you for the great work you are doing for our nation's democracy.
Thank you so much, sir. That's our show for tonight, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Seriake. God bless Nigeria.